Welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. Are you ready to conquer your challenges and achieve greatness? Join us as we dive into inspirational stories of industry leaders who have overcome adversity and reached new heights. Get ready for electrifying insights and captivating conversations that will ignite your passions for success. This is your go-to show for empowerment, growth, and leadership. Buckle up. Leaders Lead Podcast is here to take you on a transformational ride. Hey, welcome back. This is Tony Taylor with Leaders Lead the Podcast. Today's episode is near and dear to my heart. And the reason why I'm sharing it with you is because I know that this is near and dear to a lot of the leaders and entrepreneurs, the breadwinners at home, the parents, the humans, anybody that's going through this life, this thing that we call life. We have some dreams at one point or another. I mean, you could think about like a flower or a tree. The flower or the tree's biggest dream is so that they can grow. So all of us have a dream. All of us have some vision to where we not only see ourselves being, because that's the answer, but the journey is pursue ourselves being and being in the pursuit of our goals, which is our dreams. So how many of you that are listening to this, send me a message if you want at info@tonytaylorinspires.com. Join one of our groups, reach out to me. I would love to know what your dream is currently. And if you don't, especially this episode really is for the people that are trying to figure out what their dream is. And also trying and fighting like hell to get towards their dream. So I want to talk about never letting go of that dream. I remember growing up as a kid, no matter what phase of life that I was in, I had a dream. If, I go and I talk to some people that were in my life during certain moments of my life, and they're like, yeah, you were into boxing, or you were trying to get into the military, or you were trying to get out of military and set up your future to do what you're doing right now. Those people, they would all tell you that there was a dream that I had. Those people would tell you that we probably were talking about dreams that they had. I've always been fascinated with the person and the dream together. Where's that going? Because that's always led me. So I've really been thinking about this and thinking about why sometimes us as humans, why do we lose sight of that goal? Why do we stop having the dreams that we have? And I came up with 3 things that keeps us back. And with these 3 things, I would love if you would write down on a sheet of paper. Number 1 is our past is creeping up. We have some unresolved issues that just keep coming back up, and it just stops us from doing what we need to do to succeed. Number 2 is the failure. You've walked into some things. Maybe you wasn't prepared. Maybe it didn't go as much as you wanted things to go. And it didn't turn out the way that you thought it would turn out. Where I'm from, we call them L's, the losses. And one thing that I want you to understand is those losses, they're actually wins. They are actually wins. And then the third thing is not being competent. I remember when I was growing up, there was this kid, he wanted to be a basketball player. And he told everybody that he was gonna be a professional basketball player. And I'll never forget this as long as I live. I mean, he was, you could tell naturally, he was naturally talented. But what he wouldn't do was go and learn the skills and the mechanics and not even the rules in basketball. He was a super athletic kid, super tall. They would say, hey, I remember they said, hey, you're doing the jump ball today. And he's like, what's the jump ball? And if you play basketball, you know that jump ball, that's usually the centers or whoever the tallest on the team, or it could even be the most athletic. They throw the ball in the middle of the circle. It's almost symbolic in basketball. Throw the ball in the middle of the circle. The team with the guy that taps it to their team, that's who got first possession of the ball during the basketball game. But he didn't know this stuff. And he didn't take the opportunity to learn it. It was the damnedest thing. And I mean, he ended up losing that dream of going to the league because he wasn't competent. I mean, if you look at the three things that I talked about, or that I'm talking to you about, is it keeps a lot of us down. Your past creeping up on you, and you can't think about the future because you're too buried in the past and all the woes that you have and the things that happen in your past life. The failures, you're not looking at them as though they are actually wins. And when we win, we're changing our mindset. We're looking at our mindset and we're actually saying that those wins are the things that we're learning, or the losses are the wins because we're learning. And then again, the third thing is not being competent. You can have all the skill in the world. You can be in the best situations, but you have to get ready to do that thing so that you can fulfill that goal that you had in mind. And I mean, I look at some of the people that I respect dearly, their lives and where they've gone, the successful people, they didn't lose sight of that. We're not going to have situations or things that work in our favor. And that's one thing that I think is very important. Most of the people that listen to the show, they have their own business. I do this show because I started it because I am working on my business, and I bring people to the show so that I can learn from them. Those people started with a dream and they kept going. So when we're looking at our past, we want to take that past, we want to take those emotions that we have out of it. Okay, yes, I was hurt. Yes, I was broken, but what was it that broke me? What was it that I was doing that I didn't like that I can learn from? What can I get really mad about that's going to keep me going? If you think about some of our ancestors, people that have fought for rights of other people, they care so much about those people that they kept fighting. There's people in this world today, right now that we live in, marginalized people, they keep fighting because they're very passionate about that subject. A lot of people is live or die. They're using their past pain to actually propel them. Oh man, I start thinking, in order to get into that mindset, that mind frame, you have to look at the story that you're telling yourself. I'll never forget, I had this Lady. She lived on the other side of the the alley from me, she also was a counselor at my school. Her name was Mrs. Bailey. I thought we were pretty cool. I would cut her grass and she would give me money so that I can continue cutting her grass. I learned the grass cutting skill at a very young age. And she was also my counselor. And she was in charge of our graduation. I think it was graduating from grade school to go to middle school. Or maybe, no, it wasn't elementary. It had to have been grade school to go to middle school. And I was this kid. I had so much energy, so much ADHD. I was diagnosed ADHD. I just could not sit still. I remember just feeling like I couldn't control my body. And we're standing in this graduation. And she looks over at me and she says, "Stop moving." For the third time, Anthony, stop moving. And if you move again, you're going to get kicked out of here. And so as she's saying that, I'm still moving. I'm trying in my brain, okay, stop moving. And I kept going. And she said, "That's it. You're not going to graduate. And not only are you not going to graduate, you'll probably never graduate any grade. You're going to be a dropout." And insinuated that I was going to be a failure. And that stuck with me for so long. And not the way that you might think. I mean, it fueled me, some negativity for a minute. I dwelled on it, but I always had that voice in the back of my head that was forcing me to acknowledge the fact that I wasn't going to let that come to fruition. That was not going to be my story. And so when it comes to education, that is that thing that me using my past to fuel me using my past to take that negative energy, turn it into something positive. Every time I get a new degree in the mail, I say, "Thank you, Miss Bailey," because she gave me a gift. I could have let it destroy me, but I kept going. I kept fighting. That's one thing with when we're talking about you using your past. I want to encourage you to let that keep you going. The pains, the past indiscretions, the wrong that people have done to you those are the things that you use to keep you going, not to keep you down, but to keep you going. And the second thing is using your failures. Using your failures. I think about public speaking. I had this ungodly fear of public speaking. And there was one period where I would run away from opportunities. I would go to the back so that I wouldn't get picked. And guess what? I didn't get picked. So I didn't get what I wanted. And I remember thinking about all the moments that I actually raised my hand or I was actually picked and discovered. What are the things that I struggled with? What did I stumble on? What did I stutter on? And I started taking mental notes of, okay, I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to do that again. Say, for instance, the very first podcast that I went on, I said so much that I was never, ever able to listen to that podcast episode again. I was a feature on somebody else's show. It was dealing with safety. And every other word was, and I heard about it. Other people said it. I ignored it. But then I went back and I said, okay, how do I fix it? What is the road for me to fix this? And I started pausing whenever I would think about or get, being able to recognize and pause whenever I would hear myself saying, a lot. I had to train myself, right? That's me using the things that were perceived as failures and keeping it going, right? So the third thing is actually using your resources so that you can gain competence, right? What do you have at your disposal so that you could learn how to do these things, so that you could, and let's, we could talk about public speaking again. No, not public speaking, business. You did all the things I told you about, and now you're going to figure out a way so that you can get competent in a skill. You go and you do research. We have the internet that's certainly available for you. When there's a will, there's a way. You could do different searches on there. You could also use YouTube. You could use audiobooks. Oh man, you should see my audiobook collection. You should see some of the audiobook and book collections of some of the entrepreneurs that I've been able to follow in the last several years. Oh my God, that is always the story or the question that we ask each other. What book are you currently reading right now? What book are you reading? And that means if I ask you that, you ask me that, you get the answer. That means that you know the skill that I'm working on gaining competency with. Look at the past books. Those are the things that one could suspect that because you went and you got the information. And I'm talking to the people right now that are building and doing something that they've never built or done before. It could be a business. It could be something within yourself, something that you're going through, something that you're growing through. Really believe that these are the building blocks. And that's why I would love to introduce you to speakuniversity.org. It is something that I'm extremely proud of. Over the last few years, we've been able to help over 600 people not only master their fear of public speaking, but gain a level of competency and confidence like no other to do amazing things like start podcasts, start movements at work, start their own movements. I'm super, super excited to invite you to check out speakuniversity.org. If that's something that you're wanting to figure out, how do I get the mindset that's needed to do this? How do I raise the awareness that must be raised in order for me to get to where I want to go, my goals? If you need support in gaining that competence, speakuniversity.org is the place for you. So with that being said, I am super grateful for everybody that is or have checked out the show. It means the world to me. It's something that we've been able to do consistently since 2020. And I've documented every step of the way in my entrepreneurial journey, despite the obstacles on this show. I'm super grateful to every single body that has been tuning in, that's been listening, that's asked questions, that have gave feedback, the people that I've had on the show. I've learned some tremendous things about business. I appreciate you, the person that is actually viewing this right now, the person that is listening to this right now. I appreciate you for listening to Leaders Lead the podcast. I appreciate you for being you and doing the things that you do. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thank you for allowing me to travel with you on your journey. I want to say thank you for the things that you're doing, the things that you've done, and the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something truly amazing. Remember, I'm here to stand by you as you chase your dreams, lead with greatness, and continue to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. I'll see you next time on Leaders Lead the Podcast. Peace.